Welcome guys. Let's continue with the today's topic. I'm 2 minutes late by chance. so, so let's continue, guys, with the next part. According to me, today's class is very much, very much important because we are going to solve very much interesting, very much powerful use case with the help of Terraform. Okay, and if you understand, guys, that today's approach that I believe you will. Okay, so after you understand this today's approach, almost all the core use case in the terms of automation world you can do with the Terraform. Okay, so what I'm talking about, so let me first set the agenda. Okay, and to explain you the agenda, what actually I'm going to do, I'm going to go through I can say the walkthrough with some of the steps in AWS cloud. And I also believe one small thing, guys, because if you till date, if whatever guys you understood about the Terraform, whatever understand about the Terraform, so Terraform is a automation tool. Okay, this is one of the key of the Terraform, and they help you because it is automation means we can write a code. After write the code, it become a program file. When you run the program file, it automates something for us. And till that, guys, what you understand, Terraform help us to automate what a facility provided by the platform. Okay, now platform may be public cloud, platform may be private cloud, platform may be some services might not be cloud. Maybe they are the platform or platform as a service. For example, maybe Kubernetes or something like this. But technically, normally whatever guys platform you have, and on the top of platform, if that will help us to launch or to provision our resources, maybe networking, maybe operating system, or whatever the resources or service you want to provisioning, Terraform gonna help you to automate the thing. So this is the very quick summary, but if you guys was with me from the first day of the Terraform, you understand what I'm talking about. but I also believe one more thing. Sorry, I can hold for a second, please. So I also believe one more thing. One more thing. If you want to automate anything, okay, and for this, if you want to write a code, before you write the code, you should know logically or maybe practically step-by-step process. Step 1, step 2, step 3, something like this. Okay, for example, if you want to launch any operating system in AWS cloud, you should know in AWS cloud, if you want to launch anything, what is the service name? You guys know EC2. In the EC2, what is subservice to use? We guys know instances. In the instance, if you launch any instance, what do you need? You need AMI. Next, what you need instance type. What is the instance name? T2 micro. So you should know all the component, plus you should also know the step-by-step things. Okay, if so, you collect those information, you collect those steps. Okay, or maybe try to use this step manually initially to make it comfortable. After you become comfortable with the steps, I also use the word called process. After you become comfortable with the process, and after you collect all the information from this process. For example, information maybe a type of the instance, T2 micro, 1 GB, 1 CPU, or 2 GB RAM, on some 1 GB RAM, whatever, something like that. So collect those information and then start converting your steps, that is a manual step or manual process, into a code. Okay, otherwise if you try to directly writing the code, I can say it is impossible to write any code without knowing the process. So first you should be know the process, right? Then only you can write the code. Yeah, after code completed, it become automation. Your code is there, share with your team, collaborate with the team, or one click an entire environment to be launched. So this concept, guys, we have discussed. And multiple small code we have run and created till date in the Terraform, right? Now, what's the plan for today? So today, guys, I'm going to explain you lots of concept, lot of advanced concept, lot of scenario we are going to build. But before I'll explain you and write a further code on the Terraform, let me first show you the step-by-step process manually. Okay, so after you become comfortable with this process manually, so those who by chance don't know AWS cloud, they also become comfortable, and those who also by chance know AWS cloud, they come to know what the plan for today. So I believe, guys, you understand what I'm talking about. So today we are going to solve very interesting problem or very interesting use case we are going to implement in AWS cloud. Okay, and before I write the code, let me walk through the manual process. And what exactly I will do as a manual process after I become comfortable and after we collect all the information and all the steps, okay, that I will write over here in my notepad. Then this information, guys, will convert into Terraform, and converting those information into Terraform is not big deal, because I also already show you how to read the document of the Terraform and how to get the help from the document. So converting those into Terraform code might not be the big deal for us then. Okay. So let me do one by one. So my plan, guys, is something like this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to launch one operating system in AWS cloud. And you guys know there's a service called EC2. So I can take the help of EC2 and I launch one Linux operating system there. There's one thing I will do. And after, guys, I launch the Linux operating system there, I will go and configure this OS. Okay, so what's my plan? Let's say my developer is, I have the developer, and developer write the code for the website that's called web app. And let's say they create the code in PHP as a language. Okay, and after they write the code in the PHP language, normally, guys, the developer put the code in some SCM tool. Let's say they put the code in GitHub. Okay, so code is there on the GitHub, and our plan is to run this website, or typically also known as deploy the website. So for this, I need this operating system, and on the operating system, I also need one more component that is called web server. Web server. Plus, because I know this code is written in PHP, so I also need PHP interpreter here. Okay, so technically, my step one would be launch this OS. Like when I say OS, I means RAM, CPU, hard disk, networking, everything I need. Second, I want to have this setup ready. This goes step two, and this step two is also known as configuration. So I need to have this configuration ready. And third step would be I will go and download my code from the GitHub account and put somewhere in my web server. So web server will run this code that is also sometimes known as deploy or copy the code in the web server. Okay, so there's the one thing I need. Let's say this is step number 3 I need. But anybody who by chance know about any things about the operating system, maybe AWS cloud. So whenever you launch any OS, you need RAM, you need CPU. And here I need this instance type. They will provide this RAM and CPU to me. Okay, plus I also need hard disk that's called storage, where my Linux OS installed. That storage also known as root storage. So if you go to the next page, you'll see 8 GB root storage they are going to provide you. But you also know one more thing: root storage is temporary in nature. What I mean by this, by chance this OS terminated, entire root storage deleted, whatever you configured here, you put your code here, it will also be deleted. So you have to understand one small thing, which is the critical data for you. So configuring the web server, getting the PHP software is not big deal. If some hard disk is deleted, I can again download the software and install it. But for me, my code is important. Even the code is also there in the GitHub. If the code deleted, again, we'll go and download the code from the GitHub. But normally, guys, normally we have a dynamic website. Means my website open, and most of the time, guys, we provide an option that upload your images, upload your document, and typically we'll store this document again in our OS. And if you store this document in your OS, that's called app server or the web server, but by chance if this OS terminated, your storage also terminated, and you will lose the entire customer data. Okay, maybe document or maybe any kind of file system data. And that is the reason, guys, we always recommended don't store your critical data in your root storage. Just go and get the external hard disk. Okay, and connect this external hard disk to this OS, where you want to keep your document or where you keep your code maybe. And anybody who by chance know about Apache web server, so in Apache web server, or like say this web server, and if the web server, guys, we configure with Apache company product called HTTPD. If you use this product, so by default, guys, in this product, we keep our code and our document in a folder called where www.html is a folder. So what we'll do, guys, because we know this document folder is very critical, because this is a folder where we keep our code. This is a folder we keep our all the document of us or maybe of a customer, and depending on how you want to configure or manage further, there's a different point. So, so what we'll do, we'll go and create this hard disk as an external hard disk. Okay, and after we create this external hard disk, we will connect this hard disk only to this folder. Technically, is known as mount. We mount it. But for this, guys, how to create the external hard disk? So again, cloud to cloud is very in the AWS cloud. We have a service called EBS that practically I always show you in my last class. We take the EBS service that will help you to create the hard disk. After hard disk create, we attach this hard disk that I show in my last class. After hard disk attached, it is a raw hard disk. Nothing is there. And anybody know about the hard disk? If you want to use the hard disk, you have to first create a partitions. After create the partition, you have to format it. After format, you have to mount that partition in some of the folder. This is the folder in my case. Okay. So that things you need. And last thing we need is, because finally my web server will configure, by chance AWS will give you this OS a public IP. So I need a public IP, and you guys know how to retrieve the public IP. That concept I explained in my last class. So we will somehow retrieve the public IP, because public IP might change next time. So we know how to retrieve or output the public IP. So guys, what you see here right now, okay, lots of concepts, guys. I already explained to you how to launch the OS, how to create the hard disk, how to connect the hard disk. But in this entire diagram that I created here, one unique thing where I would like to focus more today on this part, configuring part. Okay, how you can utilize Terraform in configuring. So I want, very interesting thing, I want as soon as my OS installed or OS launch, I want Terraform will connect to the same OS, obviously with the IP address, and help me to install Apache server, help me to install PHP. After they help me to create a hard disk, then help me to mount, so attach the hard disk, create a partition, format, mount, go to GitHub, download the code, and tons more things. So whatever you see in the diagram, that is the agenda for today's class. And in this agenda, guys, in this agenda, you're going to learn lots of interesting components about the Terraform, and plus it's also help you to understand what is the use case of the Terraform and what is not the use case of the Terraform. Anybody who by chance know Ansible or Puppet or some kind of tool, you also come to know where Ansible fit, if you know by chance, and how these two tools work together. Again, there is no prerequisite for this training as Ansible, but by chance, this very common question you guys keep on asking. So I'll try to tell you, okay, this is the place where if you know the Ansible, go and fit the Ansible or fit the SAF or Puppet, this kind of tool. Okay, so let me guys try to do this thing one by one. Before this, I will show you manual process manually and entire setup, because I told you guys, if you know step by step manually, so those information will convert into Terraform. It won't be a big deal. So let me start from here. So first thing, I will go to a service called EC2, and here, let's say my plan is to launch the OS. So I will go and launch the OS. My planning is to guys want to use this AMI. So let me collect this information over here. So this part you know already because we discussed, but I'm doing one more time. That is for a small region. And my instant time, I want to use T2 micro. Okay. There's a by default setting I'm going, and they will provide public IP and one single instance. There's a by default setting I'm going right now. Add storage. I'm going for by default root storage right now. I'm going to give this OS a name. Let's say OS1 security group. Now this is important here. So this is like a firewall, because our plan is to configure web server here. Typically web server guys run on a port number 80, but we have a firewall here. Firewall here is known as security group. And right now my security group only allow port number 22 to connect to this OS so that we can run some command there. But I also want to add one more port number here. It is for HTTP. So my port number 80 also allow for anywhere in the world, so anybody can see my website. And this security group, guys, I'm going to give a name. Let's say web port allow. So this security group I am creating right now. Right now, this security group I'm creating manually, but you can use again Terraform to create this security group. So the security group we have, that this same group we can use multiple times. It's like a firewall. But when we use this firewall, anytime in the future, by manually or by with the help of Terraform, this firewall or security group allow two things: port 22 or port number 80 they allow. Okay. Second thing, review and launch. And because this is the OS we are going to launch, and after launch, I also want to do something. I want to log into this OS, log into this OS. And after I log in, I want to configure Apache server, PHP, and some more thing here. Okay. So for this, I need some public key and private key. So I'm going to create a public key, private key, but in my case, I already have. So let me use this public key, private key, or maybe, but you can use, maybe you can create new. So like, let me create a new, so you guys can be sync with me. And let's say this is that Terraform underscore key. So there's a key name I'm giving. It's just a file name, technically, you guys know. And I'm downloading this key. It downloaded in my download folder. So technically my key name is this one. Okay. And they've downloaded in a format called PEM. Okay. PEM. So I can use this key to log into this instance. I click. So till here, guys, it's pretty simple. My OS launch. After my OS launch, I will go and find the public IP of this OS. So sorry, this. And after we find the public IP, and because this is a Linux OS, you guys know, if you want to connect to Linux OS, SSS is the command we use. We use this public IP. And because this is the AWS OS, and they give you a pre-created user called EC2 user. There's a user they given to you. How you know? You can just go to AWS document. They tell you this is the OS user they create for you. And here I already have a key, so I'm going to use this particular key to log in. So right now I'm doing everything manually, but everything what I'm doing right now, I'll show you how to do everything with the help of Terraform. So right now I'm doing login manually. but in a minute, same thing Terraform will do for you. Okay, so maybe you can use putty as a program in your Linux, sorry, in Windows, or maybe anybody who have SS command line in your Mac and Linux, you can use this command. use this command. In my case, right now, my key is download in download folder, so I use SSH. My key name is Terraform. This key. My username is EC2-user and public IP. Let me go and check. So everything, guys, if you see here, everything is going manually right now. I use this and my OS is launch. I believe they launch. If I click, they say yes and log in. And after I log in, guys, what I do, because my plan is to configure Apache server and PHP. So you guys know there's a command called yum install stpd. There's a command who help me to install the software. But for this, I have to log in with the root account. Right now, log in with general account. So here, the general account has some power of sudo. Okay, so I use this command. This command will help me to install Apache web server. Apache web server. So guys, what I'm doing, I'm just collecting all the steps, all the process, all the commands. Okay, so here they're asking yes or no right now, because yeah, you are doing it manually. So manually, as a human being, you can type Y to yes, but if you want to run same command with some kind of program, I don't want my code will again ask me yes and yes. I want everything to be automated. So I'm doing right now no. And if you want this command to run automatically, I can pass Y. Y means don't ask yes or no, automatically select yes and install the software. Okay, so this is pretty Linux. Anybody who know Linux, this is a very basic command. Same thing, I'm helping the type of sudo and say I also want to install PHP. PHP. Okay, so this command will help me to install PHP. Okay, PHP. And finally, I will start my services of the web server with the help of sudo. So my service start. I also want to make my service permanent. So after reset and reboot, my service always be up. Right? So guys, these are the command we carry. So technically, finally, this server become your Apache web server. I don't have any web page here, website that I will download from the GitHub. Okay, but till here, everything's done. And very quickly, I want to check everything working or not. So this is the public IP. Anybody in the world can use this IP and can hit my server. And this test page come up from Apache. If this page come, it means the server working good. But because I don't have website, so there's no first page come up. This is an inbuilt test page of Apache server come up. So till here, guys, whatever I've done, everything I did manually. Now, how we can convert this manual thing in the automation world only with the help of Terraform. Okay, so let me guys show you those steps. Okay, till here, even this practical, the way the use case I had talked about is not complete. I have to also attach some hard disk, then go and download from GitHub. That I'll do in the second phase. But let me do till here. Let me do till here. Okay, so this information we collected, now start working on the Terraform. Exactly same thing I'm doing with the help of Terraform. Interesting thing for you, till here you know already. Interesting thing for you guys is this stuff. How we can do this connection, these things with the Terraform. And the most interesting thing is, after my OS launch, okay, we have to collect the public IP, because public IP always be different. And what a public IP will come up, I have to use Terraform and ask them, you go in my behalf and do remote logging with the help of SSH. So something like this, we don't have to do. I want Terraform will do for us. And I'll say Terraform, after you do remote login with SSH protocol, then I want you go and run this list of commands there. Okay, that I want Terraform will do. Okay, so there's a unique thing for you for today. So before this, let me do this part very quickly, because this part you know already. So I'm going to our Terraform workspace. Let me create a new folder, give the name called pro. Why I'm giving pro, I will explain in a minute. It's just a folder name right now, and I'm going to create a web.tf file. TF file here, and you guys know the first step is we have to first log in. So for this, I'll take the help of Terraform. Go for registry and go for providers. Our provider is AWS. Take the help of AWS document. I have to first log in. And this is a very quick revision for you. We have done this part, so I'm doing a little bit faster. Okay, so let me use this code. Okay, and right now, guys, I already have profile in my laptop. There's a name of default, even though there's a by default profile you also have in your laptop if you have used AWS command ever. And I would like to use AP South 1 as a Mumbai as a region. So this part is done. And because this is the first time I'm doing in this folder, so I have to download my provisioner. So we can ask the Terraform command initialize my project first. So they're downloading for us. That's the one thing they're doing. So login part is done. Second part, we have to launch this OS. Okay. So for this, I'll take the help of EC2. Okay. Resource name is AWS instance because I'm doing something on the instance. So let me take this particular pre-created example here. Copy over here. Okay, and let me give the this is called web OS 1. This OS name I'm giving. AMI name I already know. I already copied because sorry, because I know my AMI name. So I use here. Let me put in double quote because it is a string. I want T2 micro. I want my OS name would be web server by Terraform. Okay. Plus, I also have some specific requirement here. I want to use only this security group because I know this security group allowing port number 80. That is a need. So this security group is already there in my account. I can use, but otherwise Terraform has a way you can create your own security group. How you can do it by yourself is pretty simple because I already explained the concept. So just go and find the resource for security group and do it. So I don't want to invest my time there. Very simple thing, or you can take as a small homework to create your own security group. Right now, what I'm doing, I'll go to argument reference and find does we have any way to use a security group that is already created. So if you go and find, then you can find yes, security group is a one keyword here. 1 minute. So let me use this keyword. Okay, and because anybody who know about AWS, we can use multiple security group in one instance. Okay, and that is a reason your security group is a list, is not a string. This name is string, but we can add multiple. So that is the reason, guys. Security group is a key here and has a data type called list, and this is the way we write the list in the Terraform. Even though they might also write here, might be, I don't know. They say is a list of security group. So we have to use in a list format. Okay, so right now, guys, the prerequisite for this example is, in my case, this security group is already there. But otherwise, before you launch this instance, you can write one more resource before. First, create a security group name. They will create a security group, and whatever security group name you create, you can use the name. But I'm not doing this step to save our time because my plan for today is a little bit different. I want this part to be showcased to you. Okay, and one more plan I have here. I want to use this particular key. Okay, and technically in the AWS perspective, if you see my account, this key I already have in my account. It's called Terraform key. I want to use this key. Right now, this key is already there, but again, you can use Terraform resource to create your own key. pretty simple to create. You can find the resource name. Again, I feel you guys will do this part very simple. So what I'm doing, I mean, technically what I'm talking about, one minute. You can go and write one more resource on the top that will create a security group for you. So a key for you, and this key you can use. In my case, this key is already there. So you just have to find what is the property. So I think the property is called key underscore name. And my key name here is Terraform key. That is already there. Okay. There. So this, guys, these are the things I use. So I use this security key name because I want to log into this instance. And why I use this firewall or security group, because I want to configure Apache server. They work on port 80, and this firewall allow port 80. Okay, so till here nothing very complex. Let me very quickly run this code. So directly go for apply. Good practice, always go for plan, but you know about the plan. So I'm directly applying this code. Okay, and I say yes. They will go and launch this firewall. So this step is done. According to our plan, this step is done. Okay, now after this step, what I want to do, I want to retrieve the public IP. Why? Because if you don't know public IP, how can you log in? Now, either you log in here. If you log in here by this command, this is called manual way. I don't want to do a manual way. I want this login to be done automated. How? With the help of Terraform. And why I want to log into this instance? Idea is very simple, because I want, after login, I want to run this list of commands. Guys, here the main topic of today's class. So if you want, right now, guys, you are writing a code in your laptop. Your Terraform is installed in your laptop, and wherever your Terraform is installed, that system is known as workspace. And AWS cloud is somewhere else. So technically from your laptop, you're connected to AWS world and asking to launch one EC2 instance. Okay, so why I'm saying this? So for your laptop, this instance is a remote computer. Okay, and what you want after this remote computer launch, either by Terraform, or they might be already running by somehow in any of the cases. But if you want from your workspace, from a laptop, with the help of Terraform, if you want to go and log into this OS, and after logging to this OS, then you want to execute some command there. Okay, then this concept, guys, is known as remote execution. Okay, so now there's two concepts actually. So in the Terraform, there's two options here. If you want to execute a command or the scripts or the program, the same thing. Okay, in the remote computer or in the same computer wherever you guys are sitting right now. So Terraform also have a way you can run the command. For example, this is my local Windows, and if I run the command, for example, echo hi, this command I'm running manually in my local computer. But you can also ask the Terraform, can you help me to run the command in my local computer? So Terraform say yes, I can, and very much useful. I'll show you some demo for this today, how we can do. So technically, if you ask Terraform, do you have a capability to execute the program or the command locally? Answer yes. Do you have capability to run the commands and program remotely? Answer yes. How? They say we have a program for this. We have plugin for this. There's called local execution plugin or remote execution plugin. But technically, this plugin here is known as provisioner. Provisioner. So Terraform say I have two different provisioner. They have more, but technically you have two different provisioner. One is local execute provisioner and one is remote execute provisioner. They have one more, that's called file, that work like a script, but there's a two main provisioner in the Terraform. Okay, so what I mean by this. So if I go and search over here and say Terraform, okay, do you have any provisioner? Okay, you can see here remote execute, local execute. They have by chance one more. Let me go for remote execute provisioner. So this is the piece come up. So by this provisioner, okay, or we can think the by this keyword, okay, what can you do from your local computer? You can connect to remote instances and configure something. Okay, configure means when installing the software is what configure. So technically SSS command normally we run manually, or PuTTY is a program that we run manually. Why we do? Because we can connect remotely, and after we connect remotely, we can configure something. Same thing, not TensorFlow, same thing Terraform will do for you. Okay, with the help of this particular keyword. Okay, now depend you want to run remotely or locally. Remotely, you can use this keyword. Locally, you can use this keyword. Today, I'm going to show you both. Okay, this is one thing. Now, second thing is to notice here. Okay, if you want to connect to this OS from your laptop, let's say manual. So you should know one more thing about this OS. This OS is Linux or this OS is Windows. Because if you want to connect any Linux system remotely, typically we use SSH protocol. And if you want to use any Windows computer graphically, it's called there we can use RDP protocol. But if you want to connect any Windows system in the command line to run a program, then we have a WinRM protocol. So you should know what kind of OS you are running remotely. So by in my case, I know this OS is running remotely. So you have to tell Terraform very clearly that from my local system, I want to connect this remote system. The way I would like to connect, that's called connection. So my protocol name would be SSH. And obviously, guys, not only protocol gonna help, you should be tell the IP address of this guy. You should know the user name of this guy, and you should know the password of this guy. So user name, guys, we already know is a by default name from AWS called EC2 user. Password we know is a private key that I already downloaded in my download folder. I already downloaded. SSH we know already because I know this is a Linux system. IP address we don't know, but we can pick the IP address by some attribute I show you in my last class. So idea simple. If you want to connect, want to do something in the OS, the way I show you here, first you have to log in with SSH. Why? Because I know this is Linux. So I put IP, I put username, I put password, and I use this protocol or command name because I know that system is Linux. So I hit enter, my connection done. After connection done, then only I can run the commands. Okay, or I can say after connection done, then only in this remote system, I can execute the command. So technically, two things I have to do here. First, create a connection. Who will create Terraform? After connection create, then I can run I can run the the remote execution. And for this, right, means first step is this. Means first step is ask the Terraform, do you have any way to do a remote connection? So let's ask the Terraform, do you have any way to do a connection? Okay, and the connection will be SSH. Okay, so they give you some way, this link, and here say yes, you can create a connection via this one or via this one. We have a keyword called connection, and in the connection you can create a block. Okay, but this should be accepted as a nested. What I mean by this, maybe in upcoming this example that they say connection is just a keyword that you can run inside one block. Technically, what I'm talking about, if you write a connection directly like this, you go out, code is right, but it won't work. The connection is just a keyword. It is something like the way I write the tags. So tags should be part of any resource keyword. Similarly, connection is also part of one of the main keyword. And you can put connection almost in any of the resources, almost. Okay, so one of the example you can see here, I put the connection inside provisioner block, or maybe somewhere else, maybe. Okay, so that's what they're talking about. It should be the accepted as a nested inside one other block. But in my case, guys, I know I know I have to connect to this OS, this OS. Okay, so I want after this OS launch, then I will connect to this OS. So what I can do, I can put my connection inside this block. Which block? Inside the block of this OS. This block start, this block close. So I can put my connection inside this block. Okay, it means whatever OS I launch, because I know this OS is Linux, so I can use connection protocol SSH. I know my user name is ec2-user. I know my password is not password, it is a private key. So I can ask the connection, does you support private key? So let me go and check. So they have password argument and they have private key argument also, that exactly I'm looking for. So they say, yes, I support private key. Okay. And guys, here they are very clear. If you use private key, tell me the file, the location in your hard disk where private key located. Okay. So guys, in my case, my private key located in my hard disk in this folder. So I'm taking the path. Your private key would be anywhere. So I'm giving the path here. So my private key we will find in this folder, and the name of my file is this one. This is my file name. Okay, so I put this thing, but technically private key need a data of this file. They don't support they don't support path. Private key say I what I need content of this key, but here you pass this file name. So I feel this is a password, this is your key, it's not, it's a path. So guys, you require some function that has capability to go and read the content and this content they provide to this particular variable. That is a reason they what they define here. They say here, if you want to read the if you want to load the content from the file, use a file function. And file is one of the function in Terraform where you can pass the path. What a path you write, they can read the content. So you can think it is like a cat command in your Linux. Okay, so you have to type here file function, parenthesis, and close. Okay, and the close. So this connection will help me to connect this OS. Only thing we need the host name. What is host here? You can ask. So in the connection, what you mean by host here? Host here. So they say for me, the host is the IP address of your resource, means your instance. The challenge here is because IP address is not fixed. So how we find the IP address? This concept you know already, because I know already my resource type, my resource name, and every resource has some pre-default keyword, right? And that's one of the keyword you know is public IP already. In my last class I showed you the demo, or maybe you can go to the data source and search in your AWS instance what default attributes they have. And one of the attribute you will find is public IP. And public IP know the IP of the OS in that point in time. So that demo I'll show you private IP and the public IP. So what can I do? I can say that I have a resource name, this one, resource type, this one. So go to this resource type. Inside this, go to this resource name. Inside this, okay, you will find one attribute with the name of public IP. This demo I already showed you guys in my last class. And retrieve the public IP. So what are the current public IP they have? Retrieve. After retrieve, use SSS, log in, provide this password and log in. That's all, guys. So this is exactly equals to this command. Only difference is here, this we are doing manually, and here I'm so sorry. Terraform is the one who is doing for you. And why are you doing this connection? Why doing this connection? It is simple, because after connection done, then only we can run these lines of command. And how we can run this command? Simple, with the help of remote provision. Again, take the example from here. Let me copy. And guys, again, if you talk about the provisioner, they can help you run the remote commands. Okay, and normally, guys, we also write provisioner inside your main. So let me copy this particular code here and put in the same block. See here, in the same block. So technically, this line means province say I will go and check the connection wherever you're connected. Okay, because you're connected in this block only. So in this block, wherever you're connected, I will go and run the remote commands. Which command? Multiple commands. Or because you're running multiple command, that is the reason we have given the list. And that is the reason there's a keyword called inline. So if you see here, inline is a list of command or maybe scripts you want to run. Okay, and provision say I will work on the connections. That's where I have put the provision. But my plan is not to run this command. Instead of Puppet or maybe instead of Ansible, I'm going to run these commands. So this is one of my command. Copy. This is my next command. I copy. Okay, and by chance I have more commands. More command. I copy. Now it is your choice. This you want to run as a command, and if you run multiple command, it also look like a script. Or you can put all the command in one file, copy the file there, or create the file there, and run one single file that is called script. So it will just only give a script name. Or maybe there's an option called likely here script. Also, you can give the script path. They will run for you as a bash script or shell script. Or by chance, even though I don't prefer this method, what I'm doing right now, okay, because here I'm running all the command like a script. Only difference is I am typing the commands, or you can put the command in a file that is called a script. So I don't recommend neither this step. I don't recommend also the script approach. Anybody who comfortable with the command or script, they can use. But anybody who by chance know configuration management tool, that's called Ansible. So guys, here you can use Ansible. So anybody who know Ansible, you can create an Ansible playbook and run Ansible playbook and your playbook name. That's all. Okay, even not even in the remote execution, even though we don't require to log in also in Ansible. I can run in my local computer also. It's called local execute. What I mean by this, in a minute I will explain. But those who by chance know okay, about Ansible or Puppet, so I'm trying to explain you where Ansible and Puppet will fit. Right now, guys, I believe most of you guys by chance might don't know about Ansible and Puppet. So there's a reason I'm running and putting the commands here. But anybody who know, you can put your Ansible playbook here. Even though there also we don't require remote execution also, and this part also we don't know. So we don't require. So without connection also we can do the things. How? With the remote, sorry, with the local execute in a 10 minute. When I come to local execute, I will again explain this concept to you one more time as extra knowledge, those who want to integrate Terraform with the Ansible. But right now, I'll make this topic very simple, straightforward, so that anybody can and everybody can understand what is going on. Okay, so based upon our plan, okay, so we have done everything. Okay, so let's save the code. Okay, and before I run this particular code, I want to show you first my instance is already launched. Okay, 1 minute. My install is already running with this name. And if I go inside this OS, by chance AWS has provided an option to connect directly or to log in directly. I just want to show you this is a very fresh new OS. In this OS, I don't have PHP software installed and I don't have web server software installed. Okay, that's what I want to show you here. Okay, I don't have any software installed, and even though there's one command called W, this W command say how many users have logged in and from which IP. So it doesn't show you any of my IP. Okay, so I haven't logged into this OS neither with the help of Terraform or neither with the help of manual. Okay, so everything is it's clean, nothing is there. Okay, now what I'm going to do after I run my this particular code, okay, and everything is working good. Okay, we have an error here. They say here the D doesn't work. Okay, why? There's one small trick you have to do here. They say invalid escape sequence here. Anybody who know programming world, normally guys in the programming world, whenever I write backslash and it is a new line tab. Okay, so we know guys, this is the in the Windows we start the path with backslash, but in the programming world backslash has some meaning. So technically in the Terraform, even though this is a Windows path, but you have to write / the way you'll write in your Mac and in your Linux. That's the only thing you have to change here. Otherwise they feel this is /T, this is /D, escape sequence, and that's where the error come. And they say, I don't know what is /V here. There's no /V have, right? So this was small things you have to do here. Okay. Now if I run again, okay, they say refreshing state. Okay, and they say nothing to do, nothing to do here. Now this is the big challenge. I think my code is saved, but even though they say nothing to do, okay, again nothing to do. Okay, and if I show you here, they have done nothing. So guys, one more thing I want to tell you here. Okay, Terraform is a tool. They work on a concept called desired state and the current state. Okay, so what I mean by this I will explain to you. So according to the TensorFlow, you are running one resource and in this resource okay, you asking that you want this AMI, this instance type, this security group, this key name you want, and this tag. So this is your desire, and that desire is only the thing that you can ask TensorFlow and say go to AWS, and if you don't see any of these, just go and either create or either change. Okay, so but here Terraform go and say whatever you ask me to do something on the AWS resource, I have done, I have seen, and nothing we have to do, because whatever your desire is, your instruction is already there as a current state, so nothing to do. Okay, but understand one thing guys, TensorFlow is a tool who created for the platform. They can only see the platform as a whole. Okay, they can work great for AWS, Azure Cloud, Kubernetes, and you can instruct Terraform to work on this platform. Okay, and they can check their intelligence with respect to the platform. For whatever I'm trying to do from the Terraform here, it is not a part of your cloud or a platform. Here you're going inside the OS, and Terraform is not actually meant to go inside the OS and do this thing. And this thing is known as configuration. And that is one of the reason I keep on telling you guys, but from on the first class, that Terraform is great for provisioning, for managing the platform that we are doing, but they are not great in the terms of configuration management thing. This is, we are doing configuration. So Terraform has no capability as such to go inside the OS and see, hey, what I'm looking for is there not, because they can't see the current state and the desired state. Okay, they can't do because they can't see the current state and desired state, because this is the thing we wanted, and whatever we wanted is not there. If not there, TensorFlow won't able to do it. So I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know why TensorFlow is a machine learning or deep learning tool. I don't know, because this is also TF. I worked heavily there, and this is also TF. So guys, by chance, forgive me if in this class, if I use TensorFlow, I mean to say Terraform. Okay, so don't be confused with this. I don't know why I keep on using this term. Okay, so in the Terraform, so what I'm trying to do, this is a option extra provided by the Terraform over here, but they're not so much specialized. But anybody who by chance ever worked on Puppet or Ansible, they know that power. There they have a capability to go inside this OS and check if this is not there, do it. Or if this thing exists there, software exists there, don't do this, skip this part. Okay, so guys, here the role of Ansible and the Terraform, Ansible or Puppet come into. But right now we are not into this training. So how we can run this command? We can run this connection and the provisioner if the case is this resource already exists. If it's not exist, okay, so while launching this resource, they will run the entire code for you. Okay, so if you want to try, you can try it. Okay, so if you want, this will run for you, this will run for you. Okay, so one way to run this thing is delete this resources. So whenever this resource create first time, this will run. At the same time, they will run also this, they will also run this. And what I wanted is to be done. Okay, when this resource create first. But in our case, this resource is already exist. And because they already exist and nothing to be changed here, so technically, because this keyword is not at all the part of the resource, or there's nothing to change, so Terraform don't run this. And that is the reason, guys, what you have to do. Okay, if you want to run provisioner, whenever you want to run, then we have a keyword. Again, we have to use this resource keyword with some new resource name with this resource type. Okay, and in this block, we have to copy this. So I'm not saying this will run. This will run only if something you change here, or you can run this guy from the initial. How? Delete your OS in the AWS cloud what you launch and again run it. It will run for you. Okay, but in our case, whatever I need in this resource already exists, because they already exist. Okay, they see nothing to change, nothing to add. Because nothing to add, they won't go inside this resource. They won't do further things. Okay, so that is the reason what I'm doing. I'm removing this part from here, cut, and putting in the new resource. Why I'm putting the new resource? Because this part and this part only run when this resource change or resource add. So I add some new resource. Okay, that change or add, when change add, they will do this. So for this, we can give any resource name, create a VPC, create IP, create hard disk, create EBS. But technically, for running this, why I create new resource? Okay, and that is the reason, guys, for this kind of use case, we have one specialized resource called null resource. This is one of the resource we have actually in Terraform. Okay, what they do? Nothing. Okay, this resource will do nothing. But why we have here? Okay, the only reason we have here is when this kind of use case come up, where I want to run this resource, but nothing they do in the AWS world, means they don't run any service in the AWS world. But why I'm running this? Because for this kind of case, that is a part of connection, that is a part of provisioning. For example, something like this. If you want to connect, if you want to connect from your laptop, this is my laptop. I need this command. But for running this command, why I have to go to AWS world? Why I launch EC2 instance here? It's already there, right? So resource already there, then I connect. But for running this command, I don't have to launch any resource. But this command, if you run with the Terraform, but Terraform say I can't run anything without the resource keyword as such. But if you have this command to run, and we need resource, but I don't want any resource to launch, so that is a null resource they come up. So technically, I believe you understand. Run resource means they don't do anything, but by the help of this, they run this commands. And because, guys, every resource we give a name also, you can give a null resource 1. Let's give some name, some name here. Null remote 1. You guys know this is syntax we follow: resource keyword, resource type, and resource name. So when I run this code, this run, when this run, the internal commands or internal things will run. Okay. So there the guys role of null resource come in play. Even though if you go and search for Terraform null resource, so these are document for the null resource. Okay, so they don't do any action. Okay, but if you want to do something, so use this. So multiple examples they have, but I am using this for this example. Okay, now if I run my TensorFlow, Terraform, apply here. Okay, they say couldn't run. Okay, because null resource has their own personal provider or own personal library, the way you have AWS. So you run Terraform init command to run it. Okay, so null resource has their own you see here own plugins. So I just run this command once, apply. And now, guys, you will see some difference. Now this time, say we're going to add 1. Why? Because this resource is not run yet. So I adding 1. Which one? This resource, and they will do something. And what they do? First they connect and they provision. Okay. And before I say yes, I want to show you again. I don't have the software installed in my this OS. 1 minute. It is connected. Let me again connect. So in this OS, I don't have any connection here. Let me again connect and show you guys. I don't have a PHP installed, HTTPD installed, and no connection here from my other computers. Okay, so if I say yes, they start doing something. So guys, are connected. See this option come up very quickly. If I run the W command, you can see one more guy connected. Who connected? This is actually my laptop IP. So if I show you my public IP, this is my current public IP of my router. And by this, I'm running some TensorFlow script. So from my laptop, they upload the TensorFlow, they upload this script, which script? This script, and they're running. Okay, and if you see here, they run successfully. They install PHP and everything they're done, and they say what you wanted is done. Even though if you see here from the initial, what you find, what do you find? Okay, you find as soon you run this, they run the remote execute, they do SSH, login, no password, we use private key, connection done. So this part is equals to this part. Then they run this code. And for this code, guys, internally, they put this guy into one file. In one file, the upload internally, you don't have to worry about. But technically in the Linux, we use scp command, but here they do everything for you behind the scene, and they put in the temporary location in the system, and they run it as a script. So they will do for you. But finally, what I wanted to achieve here, now after this, they disconnected. Now nobody is connected because this part is done from my local laptop by the help of Terraform. And now if you see, guys, this software installed, this software is also installed. Okay, so this part is done, and that's all. Okay, so multiple guys concepts I explain you if you want to connect. So it means it means if you want to connect any instance, either you're going to create a new, or that instance is already created. But interesting thing, one thing, guys, interesting thing to be noticed here. Okay, in this block, right, we are connecting the OS, but here we haven't mentioned that this OS is running in AWS cloud, this OS is running in your Azure cloud, this OS is running on local laptop. By this resource, you can connect to your OS running anywhere in the world. You just require public IP. For example, I have my local virtual box here. I can also launch my OS here, and the IP of this OS and the password I can type here, and I can go and configure this. So again, for these keywords, my OS would be anywhere in the world, because technically these keywords are not actually helping me to configuring the things. And also technically means helping me to connect in the platform resources like cloud. They are the one who are doing normal remote login and running commands and scripts there. Okay, so technically you can use this null resource. Means means I'm not using AWS. Null means your resource will be anywhere in the world. Okay, here we just helping you to connect and running their specific command, what a command and script they support. Okay, so this part is done. Okay, so the one thing we have done here. Okay, after this, what our plan is to deploy the website. Okay, so like this part you can do. I don't want to invest your time again. The way I planned here. Okay, the plan is go and create extra hard disk, mount it, format it. So now this is the same approach you can use. Okay, because for parts and formatting also, guys, let me do it right, because maybe some more extra thing you will see here. So what I'm going to do till here, the thing is done. Now my next plan is to create a hard disk. You guys know in the last class we already did. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to, guys, I'm taking our older code to save our time on this one. Terraform. Okay, and I believe EC21. Okay, because this code we already created, so I'm just copy pasting this code. Okay, so not this one. I don't know which one I created. We have to create not this one also. I don't have where I saved this, but here the plan is I don't know. So let me do it very quickly. Let me create. So next plan, guys, to create a hard disk. How to create the hard disk, you know. So I'll go to to this particular website and say I want to create a volume. So I can say AWS EBS volume, and how to create the volume. This one. That's all. So guys, this part we have done in our last class already. This is also one of the new resource. Here, every zone we don't know, so we can take the help of this name. I told you guys, wherever this OS launch, in the same AG, I want to create this hard disk. This concept I already explained to you in the last class. So in this resource type, we go and find the availability zone. Okay, and so I think this is the keyword that maintain the availability zone name. I believe same. The size of the hard disk, let's say I'm giving 1 GB, and let's say this is my web server hard disk. So pretty simple, guys. New hard disk will create. Let me run it. This code we have done already in our last class. Let me apply one more time. It will create a new hard disk for us. Okay, and after hard disk create, I will connect this hard disk to the OS. This is called attachment. How to attach this part also you guys know. By the meantime they're creating, let me go to next part that will help me to attach this hard disk. So it's attachment. So this resource I can use. And here I'm giving my hard disk name. Let's say VDA, just a name. Maybe HDF, maybe SDC. Okay. And here I'm saying my volume ID will come from this guy. This is the one who know the hard disk name. Because of what we guys already done, guys, in last class. So this guy know the hard disk name. I get the hard disk ID from there, and I will get the OS name on which I would like to attach. So we get the OS ID from it. If I want to connect, two things you need. I told you in the last class. We need OS ID, we need hard disk ID, then only we can attach. And we can attach with the name of this particular hard disk. Okay. So before I run this code, I will go back to my OS again. And guys, now right now, if you see in this OS, we don't have any hard disk. How I know? Let me again connect. They again disconnected. And if you want to see how many hard disks you have, so there's a command called fdisk-l with sudo you can run. And I hold only one single hard disk. There's a root hard disk 8 GB, but I don't have any 1 GB hard disk. Okay, but when I again run my apply command, you see one more resource is been connected. Okay, and this resource, guys, will add new hard disk with this name. Guys, according to AWS document, what a hard disk name you give, it is not always they give the same name. Internally is based upon your operating system to operating system kernel. The kernel might change the name, but this is the name we given here. Let's see what name of hard disk come up. But the main thing here is this hard disk will connect to this OS with the help of Terraform. Okay. They are attaching. So this part is done. Now the plan is why we are attaching this hard disk, because after we attach this hard disk, okay, new hard disk come up. Now in this hard disk, we want to put the data. For this, we have to create a partition, format the partition and mount the partition where we want to keep your data permanent, and we want to keep this data permanent in this folder, because in Apache web server, this is the folder where we normally put our website code. Okay. So this hard disk is connected. How I confirm? This is always running in the cloud. Now I say one new hard disk come up. This hard disk name is given by the AWS guy. So how can you find the hard disk name in the future? Okay, after attach, you can print this output. So they will give you a hard disk name, what hard disk name they provide in the OS. Okay, or maybe there's output function, and in the output function, because this hard disk is actually connected to your OS. So even though guys, if you go to OS also, if you see the detail of this OS and go here in the storage part, they also show you guys here, this is the hard disk. But this name guys, they have given what name we have given, but what is the actual hard disk name they attach? We have to go inside the OS and they will give you. It will be anything. So you can write a script to retrieve the name. There's a different point, but my plan here is to do one thing. Just go and create a partition. Right now guys, I don't have a partition here, otherwise number 1 and 2 come up. Why I want to create a partition? Because I want to mount it to have my data permanent. So again for this we have to do remote login. And after we do remote login, we have to run the commands. And how to do remote login, you guys know. You have to use again this null resource. So I'm running null resource one more time. Here I'm giving the different name altogether. I'm logging the same OS, but this time I want to format the hard disk. So anybody who by chance know Linux, so there's a command guys, mkfs.ext4. There's a command through which we can format the hard disk. My hard disk name is xvdc here. Right now I'm taking in a way that I already know the hard disk name. Otherwise you can use output and find some keyword in your OS or maybe in your attachment type here and find what hard disk name they give and give the variable name here. Right now I believe I'm taking this topic in such a way that I feel that hard disk name I know and I'm directly formatting it. By chance, one more thing I want to tell you, anybody who know Linux, even though if you want to format the hard disk, we don't have to create a partition, we can directly format the hard disk. It is also work. That's what we are doing here. So this is a command in the Linux to to format the hard disk. And after format the hard disk, there's a command called mount in Linux. And by this, this hard disk that I formatted, I'm going to mount in a folder called this one. Why this folder? Because according to Apache web server, Apache web server, sorry, Apache web server, this is the folder where Apache web server will keep their data. Okay, let me remove these two lines. So technically, even though if I go to this OS right now, I can run this command to check who is mounted. So you can see guys, there's no one from this hard disk mounted to where WSTL folder. Okay, but if I run my code, apply. Okay, apply. But I say yes. Guys, rather than you guys, rather than you say yes again and again, what can you do in the apply? If you see the help, okay, and there's option in the apply. There's called auto approve. If you think you have to always approve your plan, because if you plan approve, then your code apply. So what can you do? You can run after this. So technically, you don't have to always say yes. If you run, automatically your code will run for you. Okay. So technically they are going, and again, you see guys connected, and very quickly they format and mount. How can you prove everything working good? You can see here now, this time this hard disk of size around 1 GB mounted in this folder. Mount in this folder. Okay, after the mount in the folder, what can we do? We can go to GitHub, download the code here, and something like this. Okay, so we can do it. For this, we need a git command here. I don't have a git command here, so I will do in the same line also. After that, I'll add one more command, and the sudo, can you help me to install git command? After install git command, anybody who know git, so we can ask git, can you help me to copy the code? Let's say I have some code already there in one of my git account. You can create your own git account, put the data, but I have some code already there. Let's say, I don't know. Maybe let me try this one. If I have the basic code. So let me guys create a very quick one file here. Let's say my file name is index.php, and this is a very typical code I normally always write. PHP start, PHP code as a print hi from TF. That's all. So pretty simple basic code I have written here, or maybe can put your website code from anywhere. So this is the URL. Okay, so I asked my git clone to download the code for me. Okay, but for this I need git command. For git command, install git software. Okay, so I run my code again, auto approval. Again guys, same issue come up, they doesn't run this, because I told you whatever you run here, what you run here, it is not actually the core part of Terraform. So when they found this resource is exist, whatever change in the future, they won't work, because this is a part of configuration. So this thing you have to run in one single flow, or you can take the help of other tool like Ansible. Okay, because I add some extra code afterwards. So if you want to run, either delete everything, this resource, or again create, or copy this resource one more time and only run these two things what you want to add. This is one of the way you can do. Let me give a name 3 here. Okay, or let me remove. I don't want to run maybe in the future multiple times. Okay, and okay, that's all. And when I run this again, new resource come up. So finally your website has been deployed. So they're installing the git for you. After git things, then git will download the code. So if you see again very quickly, check. So in this folder, it was actually empty initially, but you can see git code come up. Let me log in with root. Why this doesn't show you? 1 minute. Why the code doesn't come? The clone. Why they doesn't come? Okay, it should come, right? Technically they clone, maybe they might clone in temp folder. Technically they say they clone. Actually they clone by default guys in your home directory. Okay, so technically guys, if you want to clone something in the git in respective folder, you have to specify, I believe in the last, that which folder you want to clone. Otherwise, they will clone by default in your home directory because this command run in your home directory. So you have to tell which folder you want to clone. Okay, so that part you can run. So for this, what I'm doing is small trick here to, to run this code. I'm putting 4 here. So they treat this new code come up. And they clone in where the HTML folder, because this is the folder I want to clone. So one more thing, guys, this error come up. Why this error come up? This error come because whenever, guys, you clone something in the Git, and if this folder exists, Git say I don't clone in a folder if the folder exists. Okay, so this is issue from the Git, if you guys know. So either I can delete this folder, but I can't delete. So let me do one small change here. Let me create one new folder web. So this issue won't come up. And guys, after this, I would like to do one more last small thing to have a complete practical ready. So they clone. Now, if you see here in this folder where HTML, this folder web come up, and here my website come. And to confirm website is working or not. So how can I check? Last time, guys, when I access my website, okay, this one, nothing was there. But if you run the web, actually the IP is different. There was a different system. If I run the web, you can see, guys, website come. But last thing here, guys, what I want, a very interesting demo. You will definitely like this demo. What I want to do in the last, I want, after my code run, my website deploy, automatically my Chrome browser open and my website auto open. I don't have to manually type this URL here. Let's say I am the TensorFlow deployer, run my code. So I will want to start my website in my local browser automatically. Okay, so it's something like this. I want TensorFlow to go and run my Chrome browser and automatically open this URL with maybe my homepage, for example. So I want to do this. Right now I'm doing this manual, maybe by command line, maybe by browser. But I want this part to be done not by me. I want this command will be run by by Terraform. Okay, and because this is the local command you want to run, and for that I told you already, Terraform has a capability to run the program remotely also and run the program locally also. Okay, for this we have to use local provisioner. Okay, so for this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this code one more time. Okay, and let me give the name 5. And for local stuff, I don't need any connection. And because you want to run command locally, then keyword is called local execute. Okay, and in the local execute, if you search Terraform local execute, so this is a file you will find, and here you will find the example, and here we have a keyword called command keyword. Okay, so we don't have inline here. Inside inline we have command. So which command you want to run locally? Okay, so here in my case I want to run this command locally. This one. That's one. Okay, so what happened if you understand the flow? The entire flow over here, so it will be something like this. First they launch the operating system, then they log in there, install Apache server, PHP, then they create the hard disk, then they attach the hard disk. Then in this hard disk, what hard disk attached, we create a partition and format it. Okay, then we download our code from the GitHub. Okay, and then for testing, because I'm the one who runs this code, I want to test, so I will run my test program locally. Or here for testing, I'm opening my Chrome browser just to see how my code look. So from starting till end, everything is purely automated. Even though we can guys more customize this code, put in one single block, but the way I explained to you, so I just cut this part in multiple small part, but we can write most of things in one single provisioner. There's a different point altogether. But now if I if I show you, run this code, okay, finally if I auto operate, one single click, entire OS launch, configure, website downloaded, and after everything done, you can see this website finally come up. Okay, and one click, if you want to destroy the entire environment, one click, entire environment destroy. Again, one apply, entire environment from the starting till the last. They will do for you. Do you want to destroy? I say yes. Everything will destroy. Okay, so this is the one thing for the code perspective, guys. This is the way I, for explanation, I just write this code in this way, but you can write multiple things in one of the single block, so thing will be faster. And now guys, one more bit I need here. Okay guys, there's some issues come up. Okay, how to tackle this issue of details and attach. So maybe in tomorrow we can, I'll show you, there's a one option called dependent keywords or details forceful. I explain you what I mean by this, so don't worry about this. If you know about AWS, you can, you know, if person already mounted, they don't allow you to detach. First you have to unmount, then you can delete. A different point altogether. But right now, one last thing I want to tell you here is, okay, because we know the IP address, okay, so we can pick this IP address stored in a file. Okay, and anybody who know Ansible, so that file would be your inventory file. You already have playbook, and here you can run the local command that's called Ansible playbook. Because normally we install Ansible in your local computer called workspace. So Ansible would be in your local computer, playbook would be your local computer, IP you can find, you guys know how to retrieve this IP and store in one file. How to run the Ansible playbook? With the help of local execute. So technically, anybody who know Ansible, they understand what I'm talking about as extra knowledge I'm giving. But don't worry, guys. Anybody who don't know, it's not at all the part of this program. Okay. So if you don't know Ansible, you can use this way to configure the system. But anybody who know Ansible, so whatever I did, guys, here with the remote execute, try by yourself. Those who know Ansible or Puppet, don't do this with the remote execute. First, launch the OS, create the hard disk, mount the hard disk, everything you do. And in the last, use local execute. And here, instead of Chrome command, run the Ansible playbook and use this IP that you can get with output command, store in some file, and then use this IP as an inventory and configure the system. Okay, so I believe anybody who know Ansible, now you know where the Ansible fit and local executives way using we can run the Ansible playbook. So big class, long class, lots of information, guys, I have shared with you. I'll share this code. Upcoming, guys, practical will be mostly on AWS, but I might also use GCP cloud, Google Cloud. And I believe a lot of guys don't know the GCP cloud. So I'm going to, guys, share you some video of my GCP cloud. So invest your tomorrow's time. Try to digest this information, try to also learn GCP. So tomorrow, guys, we don't do the class because a lot of information today I shared with you. So tomorrow there will no class. Use this information, try practices. GCP class I am going to share with you. Just try to learn those. So in the future class, I will also start using other cloud also. Okay. So that's all, guys, from my side. Any point if you want to ask, you can ask. How to destroy one resource time? So no, for this, when you run the restore command, in the restore command, we have a keyword called -resource, and you can give the resource name. Only that particular resource will delete. Yes, Nikita, if you want to run the remote execute, because technically remote execute need the IP address. It doesn't matter your instance is in the private subnet or in the public subnet. But obviously, if you want to run a remote execute, you have a connectivity or any instance that is in the private subnet. Obviously, you don't have a connectivity, you won't able to connect. Or maybe for some point in time, you can use a test internet gateway, and then you can use remote execute to connect, or maybe you can take the help of a bash host in between to connect. Okay, but obviously remote execute need a direct connectivity. Guys, AWS video, I think we have already shared with you 3 or 4 classes might be enough. How null resource identify the local resource, guys? Because here I use provision local execute. Null resource is nothing, just say to tell that this resource is not doing any resource thing, like they're not using any service in the cloud. But why we use null resource? Because for running this kind of keywords. Okay, but in the provision, local will tell you to run local commands, and remote will tell you to run remote command. Which remote? Wherever you have connected. Okay. Aditya, we will provide the GCP recorded class, so that is more than enough to know about the GCP. So there's no meaning to again take a class on Earth. So we will provide you is extra. You can think as extra benefit, providing a recorded class. So just go to those classes. It will cover the core concept, whatever I need to know about GCP. Yes, Isha, after having this training, if you want to plan for go for Terraform certification, you can go very easy. Okay, the level of knowledge you will acquire in this class will be very easy, is very more than enough to pass the global exams. I didn't get null list exactly. Don't worry, Kuri. So sorry if you're not pronounce your name properly. Uh, we keep on using null resources multiple times. Okay, so after having 2 or 3 more example, you will be comfortable the use of null resources. Yes, Maniar, you can use role also. Same thing, right? Role also actually run back playbook only, right? So we can't run role directly. Technically, if you want to run the role also, you need a playbook to run. Okay. So when I say you can run playbook, means you can run anything with the help of Ansible. So yes, Lux, you can use user data option also. Okay. So while launching the OS, you can use user data to configure it. But I want to show you the other way because my intention was to explain you provisioning. So that's all, guys, for today. Invest your time on this practice, and Plus go to GCP class in detail. So we can use GCP also in the future classes. Okay, bye. Take care, guys. See you.